fucking professional. Yo, goddamn it. You're muted, what? And daring, it's iconic. Cheese breaks, fake breaks, staying hydrated. It's Shorty time. She's a fucking delight. Trial watching, trials and tribulations. It's Camp Shorty calling all nations. What are you drinking? Shall we skip this part? Left or right-handed? Shit, she slid it to the start. She's a fucking professional. Yo, goddamn it. You're muted, what? And daring, it's iconic. Cheese breaks, fake breaks, staying hydrated. It's Shorty time. She's a fucking delight. Psychology corner. Let's learn about stuff. New Miss Shorty music. Calling their bluff. Best chat, best community. We've got the best minds. A safe, supportive sanctuary full of fun and love. Rock out with your cats out. Curse all you want. And here at Camp Shorty, we even say God. She's a fucking professional. Yo, goddamn it. You're muted, what? And daring, it's iconic. Cheese breaks, fake breaks, staying hydrated. It's Shorty time. She's a fucking delight. Hey, Shorties, what's going, y'all? Get in here, Shorties. Let's fucking go. Camp Shorty. Camp Shorty. Camp Shorty. Camp Shorty.
Hi again, shorties, or hi, shorties, if you're on replay crew. Hi, or if you're just joining. Hi, Laura, I see you're in line to get a tattoo. How exciting. What are you getting? Are you getting Shorty for life? I'm excited for you. I'm going to get a new tattoo soon too. I have a list of tattoos that I need to get to put some water under the bridge from the old pirate flag tattoo. Lol. How are you all? Good to see you. Hi, Candy. I got lost, but I'm here now. Fantastic. I'm too loud. I think I'm too loud. Tell me if I'm too loud, chat. Wait, that's going to be jingling, jangling for you. Hang on. I'll mute myself while I fix this mic. Yo, I need tat therapy. We all need tat therapy. If you want, I'll get Matilda to make available some sort of Shorty logo. Yikes. Oh, no. I dinged. We binged. So what are we doing here? Who else is here? Laura's here, getting a tattoo. Colors is here. Princey's here. Did I see Steph? Steph! Hey, girl. Has your parcel arrived yet? No, I would have got a notification. Don't forget, I have to remember at 8, so in 1 hour, 8 your time, well, Eastern, we're drawing the very good odds raffle for pick anything off the website for first prize, off the merch store, the Miss Shorty merch store, and second and third prize get a hologram sticker or a magnet, you choose. The colors took the train. Didn't want to end up in Yugoslavia again. Well, good. I'm glad that you made it. Sometimes we weren't flying to Vietnam, that's for sure. We were not flying to Vietnam. If you know, you know. I'm just fixing these sound things so that it's not on a loop. And if Nick is out there, if he's still alive, if he hasn't chainsawed off one of his limbs.
It's not a deal breaker, but I'd like to know. Thank you.
Glad you didn't go to Yugoslavia. Colors. Who else? Shelley's here. Pokemon, our newest addition to the mod squad. Wait, also this is weird. Better. I'm such a professional. Temporary tattoos, that's a good idea. What are you saying? You don't want to get Miss Shorty, Miss Shorty, Cam Shorty. I'm sure you get a flex back tattoo. What the fuck? Hey, Jason, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Can Matilda make us temp tattoos? Poor Matilda. I'm sure she can. Hi, speak of the devil. Hi, you got your internet stuff sorted? I'm flying to Vietnam. Well, I hope they've got Wi-Fi so you can listen and watch. Hi, Moon Goddess. I got my mug 10 minutes ago. How's the quality? We love to know. You're the first. I've gotten some stickers, and the stickers aren't the best printing. I showed them in the former stream, the previous stream, the Donna Adelson bond hearing stream. So they're pretty good, but we're in talks with Fourth Wall to see what they can do about that, because we want top quality stuff. So the sticker itself is good. The colors are okay, but there's a little fuzziness in the outlines of the graphics, which is disappointing. So it's actually very nice. Which one did you get, Moon Goddess? That's so exciting. Holly. Well, shit, Holly. Well, shit. Good to see you. Holly's going on the draw. Holly's going on the draw for next weekend's draw. So anybody who sends any money the channel way every weekend, any form of dollars, any denomination of money, goes in the draw for the raffle for the next weekend. Yes. Shun one. Ooh. I'll play this one for you. Wait.
Well,
Jokes, lol. I can't find it. Here, this one.
I'll take any motherfucker's money if he giving it away. Shit.
So what are we doing tonight? Thank you, Shanwan. What are we doing tonight? This live. Well, next up, we're going to Feral Friday, publicly buzzed. Me guesting, going to watch some sort of movie that I'm sure will have boobs in it and either gore or college humor. Can't remember what the movie's called. Poke, do you know what the movie's called? I thought it said Tramp Tat. Vixie, hi. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Good to see you. So, Joey, mind out of the gutter, for goodness sake. I like your typos. Lol. So Colors recommended this one to me, and I've watched it and I love it. I had some we're watching another Lisa Bilieu. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but that's how I say it because I'm very fancy. Interview with Laura Richards, and I sat here like the night before last, Thursday night my time, just going like, oh. It's about an hour and 20 interview, so we'll stop along the way, and that should wrap us up just in the perfect amount of time to refresh our drinks, to pack the bong, whatever it is, roll some if you've got some, pour a wine. Hi, it's me, day drinking always on Feral Fridays, and we get to hang out and just let our hair down on a Friday night. Yay! I love that for us. Don't forget Joe Flexback, Mr. Takapina. But actually, before we go, wait, I just want to show you something. Hang on. Because Matilda, beautiful Matilda, we love you so much, Matilda. This woman, is it this one? Yes. Let's just have a little bit of a look. This is, there's a calendar. Don't worry, there's another kind of calendar coming for adults only, because I have so many photos on my camera reel from back in the day, man. I've wanted to have a calendar. It's like wasted, but you can see this, can't you? Yes, this is the latest logo, which Matilda turned my kind of average, bit clunky one from. But this is the design brief. No, inception. I don't know, something, and turned it into a really cute logo. I really love it. Let me show you that. Look how cute it is, Shorty with cherries. But here's the thing with Mr. Takapina, and I'm please, for the love of God, can I not call him Mr. Flexback tomorrow night? Please. It took me so long to learn him how to say his name, and then his actual name, Takapina. But look, we have a whole Joe Takapina, Mr. Flexback collection. So I'm not saying we're obsessed, but maybe he has ordered many of these items. So chat, if you like Mr. Flexback, rhetorical question. Obviously, the answer is yes. Look at this. So this is a screenshot that Matilda got from that Matilda got from court, and it was a bit blurry, right? The screenshot was a bit motherfucker. The screenshot was a bit blurry. So I suggested, because we work together quite well, Matilda and I said, what about if you do a line drawing of it? Can we zoom in? God, why can't I? So she made it into more of a line drawing, and it says no speaking objections. It's a mug, obviously, with, anyway, defense attorney Joe Takapina. Yes. Why wouldn't you want this? Let me go back. There's semi-compression tights, a tumbler. Look, ASAP Joe cap, ASAP Joe shorts. He loves it. He's ordered so many things. I hope the quality is good. ASAP Joe joggers, flexback shorts. Chat, look at this. You wanted flexback merch. What the fuck? Motion granted. What the fuck? Motion to scream. What the fuck granted? Look, he asked for gym stringers. Ask and you shall receive, sir. There's a Joe Flexback or ASAP Joe polo. Adidas hoodie. There's Adidas hoodies in the Miss Shorty range as well. The number has no limit. There is no limit. He's got a mug, he's got this. Stickers, hope they're good. Oh my god. Magnets. Chat. I'm just saying, we're not even obsessed. Matilda is magic. Best tumbler. Those are awesome. They are good, aren't they? He ordered joggers for his daughters. They wanted some. Joe Takapina, chat. But shall we try to stay on focus, on target? Oh no, shall we on topic? God. If I say all the wrong words tomorrow, chat, you have to. Nobody say Chameleon in the chat tomorrow, okay? For the love of God, for the love of Mr. Flexback, please. Princey, I can guarantee you will be getting that, because what's been the best seller? A lot of probably the most ordered things have been the wide leg pants, to be honest. Oh wait, wrong thing. Where am I going here? Let me go back. These I've oh my god, Lisa, here, home clothing. We've got new things here too. Wait, we'll have a little look. I love these tights. Oh my god, look, I've got shorty on the waistband, long tights. There's 7/8 or capri length tights. There, and so these wide leg pants are probably, see there, they're probably been the most things that people have ordered. My throat's gurgling. Sorry. And t-shirts. I don't know. Do I count? Because I've spent $1,000 in my own merch store already. Lol. Literally. Clothing. There's so many cute things. It's so clever. You're so clever, Matilda. Thank you so much. I've got this one coming, autistic as fuck. I want so many more things, but I'm gonna try not to. So that cool, huh? Cool, huh? Yes, Holly. We need Afterpay for these. Now that's a good idea. I don't know if Afterpay is Afterpay worldwide though. Is that Australian? I'm not sure. Anyway, have a little bit of a look around, and if you want to be in it to win it, this weekend is a sticker or a magnet, but once a month. Oh, maybe we can make it every weekend. Just you can pick a T-shirt. Maybe that's more fun. We'll just do a T-shirt every week. Every week you can pick a T-shirt. No, please, God, no, for the love of God. Please. I want to appear to be professional and intelligent. Don't get me to say chameleon, motherfuckers. So let me stop sharing that and let me pull up. That's what she said. Yes, that's what she said T-shirt design. Okay, what we got? I profile psychopaths. Don't worry, we'll have some music breaks. We need to zoom a little because time, yikes. So I've linked this whole episode in the description box, and there's a link to the merch store and a link to the website. So check it out if you can't quite find those things through Mr. Google.
The art of manipulation is someone making you do things and you don't even realize you're doing it. When someone's been gaslit by an expert manipulator, they don't know which way is up.
Oh.
They will love bomb you. They will have a strategic campaign to win your heart. They seek to utterly dominate. If you see it, run.
So Lisa Beaulieu, amazing. I love
So
her
Laura,
interviews.
as a criminal analyst who's trained under the New Scotland Yard.
This is actually a new episode, just from this week, I believe, within the last week or so, 7 or 8 days. So we're watching current stuff here. Please don't copyright us, Lisa. We love you.
And the FBI, you actually use a checklist that screens for psychopathy. And if they score over 30, then that proves that, yes, they are a psychopath. So what is on that checklist and what are the telltale signs that we need to watch out for?
Yeah, I mean, there are two checklists. There's one that's called the Dash, which I created.
I don't have the dash in the description box, but I do have the Dr. Robert Hare's psychopathic checklist linked in the description as well for this episode. I used that psychopathic checklist. I think it's 20 criteria dot points to assess my very highly abusive psychopathic, literally ex George, and he came up as a 36 or a 37, and I didn't even tick. So you basically score 0, 1 or 2 for the 20 things, criteria, and then that scores. So someone like Ted Bundy, 37, 38, 36, can't remember. So yeah, it's if you've got someone in your life who you're thinking, I don't know, they're more than just a narcissist. I think they might actually be a psychopath. It's a worldwide Canadian doctor, Dr. Robert Hare, who created this diagnostic criteria to properly and formally diagnose psychopaths.
In the UK, and that's the domestic abuse, stalking, and harassment, and honour-based violence risk
Hi, Simi.
checklist, and that's what is used when there is a report of domestic violence or coercive control or stalking or honour-based violence to police. But actually anyone can use that checklist. It can be used by victims themselves. So that's once you're in a relationship. And that's what I use with victims all the time, present day. The other is called the psychopathy
Excellent,
checklist,
Holly.
and
That deserves a round of
by someone
applause.
called Dr. Robert Hare. And when I started working cases of serial rape, murder, and abduction in England and Wales, and I ran the homicide prevention unit, that psychopathy checklist was important for indirect assessments and understanding, because we know that, those serial killers and what we would now call coercive control, there are traits, there are things that we can see, but we have to be looking for them. So, my top number one thing that's actually not on that checklist, ironically, is
Nick,
power
you're
and control
alive.
and coercive
Excellent.
control.
Another applause for
And
Nick.
the key thing that motivates them is power and control. They seek to utterly dominate. And actually their whole psychopathology is dominate or be dominated. And that's how they understand the world. That's how they move through the world. And they see people really as just objects to be dominated and to be used for their own gain. So their needs are the most important thing to
Sorry,
be met.
lady, Laura.
So that's
There
what
we
you're
go.
looking
Here's
for
the
early
best.
on in a relationship. And that Jekyll and Hyde,
As low as it goes.
if
Sorry,
you
chat.
see it,
Oh, wait.
run. Because they will come up with all sorts of reasons for why they did what they did. And often they break down into victim mode when challenged about it. And they will say things like, well, it was because I was abused as a child, or this happened to me. And the woman will listen, and she'll then start feeling sorry for him, and she'll go straight into empathy mode, and she'll now be comforting him rather than standing her ground about the thing that he did that upset her. And you know what? When I interview those women, they don't even know how they got there or how he flipped that script. But before they know it, they're now on the wrong foot. They're now comforting him, and the other thing has gone away, and they don't even know that that's what's going on. So the early identification and intervention and prevention starts straight away. And look, I never want to wait for things to escalate where the police are involved. But when I psychologically autopsy cases, I always say, tell me about how you met. And they then start to describe, they might say, oh, it was 10 years ago. And I said, well, tell me about that. And what I often find is that they've been targeted. So the setup is very important. They are trying to figure out who's compliant, who's going to be malleable.
It's a good one, isn't it,
And
Joey?
of course, women, girls,
Stream
we're
Elements is
taught to
here.
be
Fantastic.
compliant, and we're taught to be polite, we're taught to be malleable. But there are certain women who are even more empathetic and malleable. So I'll give you an example. Everyone's heard about the case of Dirty John and Deborah Newell, and John Meehan was.
So this is, we heard with the dirty CIA guy, the guy that Nick found visually offensive. And by the end of his interview, there was a general resistance to any more of his mansplaining and self-importance. However, this is Dirty John here, and this is Newell. What's her name? Deborah Newell.
Was a psychopath. He's somebody who I indirectly assessed. I spent a lot of time analysing his life and how he targeted women.
Thanks for being here.
Met Deborah Newell, and they met on a dating site, and she felt he was too good to be true. He ticked many boxes for Deborah, and he ended up being a very coercively controlling and dangerous man, but he didn't present as that to begin with. And they ended up getting married very quickly. No real checks and balances in place. He kept pushing the relationship, and they did marry within months. Her daughters were against it. They didn't feel John was who he was claiming he was. He was making out he was a, he was a doctor, and one of the daughters didn't buy it because he had dirty fingernails and his scrubs were always dirty, and she had worked in a medical center.
Wait, Amber, that's pretty cool. Amber says, I was in the elevator at CrimeCon with Deborah Newell. My introverted self was so uncomfortable because I wanted to say hello and I just couldn't. I'm sure I made it so awkward. Laura, Amber, I feel that in my bones. Yes, but still, wow. Just me and her, no one else. Yikes. Lucky, I hope you didn't fart, Amber. Oh, yikes. Oh, I'm having salami and tomatoes, so I will mute myself and forget. You're welcome.
And knew that that was a big no-no. So when she realized that there were red flags and that he was dangerous, and the daughters had hired a private investigator, she was already in too deep, but she disappeared herself for 6 months. And she lived out of hotels, she wore wigs, she had different cars. But what she didn't bank on was that he would target her daughters, and that's what he did. And because he couldn't get to Deborah, he was going to seek revenge on her by going after the people she cared about the most. Now, ironically, it didn't end the way that John thought it would. He had a knife, he intended to kidnap Tara, and she unbelievably fought him and won. And she ended up putting the knife through his eye and killing him. Yeah. So when I first spoke to Deborah and said, you called it coercive control, Laura, you said, and you described to a T my life, me, what was going on in terms of what he did to me, but also him. And you gave me my dignity back because people kept blaming me. Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I protect the children? She said, I'd love to meet with you and just understand how you knew all the things that you did. So I did meet with her. And I asked her, tell me about that first date. And she said, oh, you know, I met him on this dating app. He was too good to be true. I mean, we go on this date. He's the perfect gentleman. We're talking. And I said, how much talking did you do? And she said, I talked a lot. And she sort of laughed. She said he was a really good listener, Laura. And that's one of the things that I really valued about him. And I said, oh, why? And I knew what was coming. And she said, because in my previous...
So just a reminder that Lisa does lots of facial expressions. Just her way of being, you know, conversationally responding without interrupting verbally, which is a very good skill to have. It actually makes it a lot easier to interview someone when you can see their face. And I know with my Frank and Jim Zell interviews where they were just avatars, it made it really hard because I couldn't see their faces. But yes, that's Lisa.
Relationships. And I was married before, the men didn't listen to me. I said, did you tell him that? She said, yes. I said, did you tell him about all your previous relationships? And she said, yes. And I said, and did you tell him what you were looking for in a man? And she said, yes. And then I knew she'd given him the blueprint for everything she was looking for. He just became and embodied that. So he
Sorry, Laura, dirty pause. Definitely, am I muted? No, relief. Oh, the relief. I've experienced this very thing recently, maybe a month ago. Interesting. You got to be very careful with how much you share with people about your hopes and dreams and the lack in your former or previous relationships, because people like this just absorb it all and then use all that stuff to present to you a persona that will be the perfect fit, the too good to be true for you. It probably is.
He literally ticked every box for her because she had handed over the blueprint to him. And that's a very important lesson to girls and women when you go on dates. Don't overshare. You don't want to talk about everything that went wrong in previous relationships and give them all this information that could potentially be weaponized. So that's always the first golden rule of preparing to go on a date and be clear.
Joey, are you throwing shade at Lisa's look? Princey, lol, Chameleon, right. Don't. Lisa is a badass woman. She's amazing. We love her. We love her, Joey. Don't. Princey will call you a boomer, man. I love you, Princey. And Joey.
Clear what your goal is, and it shouldn't be to overshare and give a blueprint
I won't have
to
it,
somebody
Joey.
about everything that you're looking for in a future
I
partner.
won't have it, Joey.
So, unfortunately, they have no moral code
It's not a
at
deal breaker,
all,
but I'd like to
which
know.
means they have many more options available to them. And that's what they're looking for: dominate or be dominated. And if you're going to expose someone like that, you better know what you're doing, because they will come back at you.
That's
and
assault,
they will
Joey.
scorch the earth. They won't just give you a ding, they will look to destroy you. And so once that changes, that dynamic, and they see that you see them or you understand, they get into that scorch the earth mode. And that's when it's very dangerous, actually. It's not just about being wronged. It could be your life is in danger. So that's why the
We
work
do
that I
love
do
Joey.
with the Dash in particular
Boomy
is
shade
a
and all.
life-saving checklist. And it gives the victim permission to tell us what's going on. Because often they feel shame and blame and judgment and all the things that keep her entrapped. And the perpetrator knows those things. So he will use all of her biggest fears as leverage to keep her quiet and keep her controlled. You know, psychopaths will stop at nothing. Nothing and no one is off limits to them. And people...
I'm just going to give an example for what I was talking about just a few weeks ago, a month ago, about a month, maybe a bit longer. And if you all recall that whole situation with the now we understand to be a registered child sex offender, Adam Levi Boyd, but he was always very resistant, not just resistant, straight out refusal to come to Australia. Obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and he probably couldn't leave the country. Anyway, but so this next person that sort of slid into my DMs at a crisis point, chat, you might remember the Discord Inferno. Many of you will recall, probably all of you, when we had to burn that shit down. And this person came in and one of the first things they said, and at the time even I was like, oh, yikes, whoa, but it was also kind of romantic, but is it? And said, oh, I've already looked into flights to Australia so I can come and see you. I was like, well, wow. And I'm like, that's really amazing, because Adam never ever would have. And he's like, and I'm like, but did you know that? And he goes, yeah, I did hear you say that. And I was like, a little red flag went ding. Don't worry, he's gone. Yikes.
People would think, oh, well, it's their child or it's their wife. No, if you're going to expose them, or if you're looking to exact your will or your autonomy, and they've been in control up until that point, that's when you can see a very different side to them.
I'd love to actually go through some of them if you don't mind, because you live a very different life, I think, than a lot of us women. And so I bet you your spidey senses are like just hella strong now. But like for most of us,
Ava's
I'm just
mum, hi.
naive. And I hate to say that out loud, but I think I am. When I start going into your world and reading up of the things
It was
that
a
you deal
very
with
dark time.
and what the depths of the level that a psychopath or a sociopath or a narcissist will go to, you've seen the results of that. But really starting from your everyday woman that doesn't notice the small things. So let's go through a couple of the points that Dr. Hare developed on the checklist. So we've got superficial charm. How do you even spot superficial charm?
Yeah, it's a hard one, right? And spidey senses, just to pick up on something you said, is so important, right? What our gut tells us. We have more brain cells in our gut, in our stomach, than a dog has in its head. But we do, and that gut instinct is so important. We feel it here, first of all, when something's off. Then the brain starts to rationalize what it is. And then if you've got someone reinforcing and chiming with that rationalization, we kick it off. And what I say to all women is never ignore your gut instinct. If you do, that's when you'll find a problem. And so always being in that moment of, if the hairs on your arms went up or the back of your neck, that's the early predator alert system. We all have it. And it's part of Darwinian survival, right? There are some things that we don't see or we can't put our finger on, but
Poor Nick, it's not dumb. You've got other things to worry about. You're a colonel in the fucking army, for God's sake. I mean, obviously you're in foxholes doing spy shit with colors. You can't know everything. Yes, but yes, Discord Inferno, yes.
we intuit it, we feel it, it's in the ether, it's part of someone's aura, it's how
Yes,
they come
Candy.
across, it might be a micro expression, it's something we pick up. We can't always rationalize it, but always believe what your gut's saying. Be curious, ask questions, and always trust your instincts. And when I was at New Scotland Yard, I read thousands of rape statements. And you know what, Lisa? In pretty much every case, the woman sensed danger before the rape happened. And she allowed her rationalization, to minimize, to rationalize, I don't want to be rude. So, I don't want to be feeling, make him feel uncomfortable.
This is a really important point, and Lisa's about to tell a story. I think it's now about an experience she had about having this sort of conflict in her mind, this cognitive dissonance of sensing danger, and but also that conditioning we have as women to make sure that we're always being polite and gracious and not being seen as being a bitch or to be accused of being, you're fucking crazy. Yeah. So, but sometimes manners might get you killed, and listening to your intuition and your gut instinct may save your life or save you from a trauma that nobody needs to have.
So I'm not going to do X or Y. And that was the moment when, and I'm not blaming her, by the way, but that's the moment when she could have acted, and you never get that moment back again. But I've interviewed so many victims and they all say, if only I had, if they're aware of it, because they felt it and they intuited it first. And your gut, when you're in danger, and just get out of that situation immediately.
All right, guys, we'll be right back with Laura. But for 1 second, if this episode or any other episode of Women of Impact has brought you value, please do smash that subscribe button down there, because you have no idea how much that becomes the calling card to every single woman out there, that this is the place to be, because we women unite, we hold hands, we cheer each other on, and we have each other's back.
Hi, Gabby.
So smash that subscribe
Good to
button,
see
guys.
you.
Thanks for listening.
I'm also
Now back to
munching.
the episode.
Not Subway, but munching.
So many of us women have been taught, especially at my age, I'm 45, so growing up, I was of the generation where I got patted on the head and I was told little girls don't speak unless spoken to. Don't overreact. Don't be emotional. Like, that's the messaging I got. So when you come to moments like this where your gut's trying to tell you something and you've had, let's say you're 15 years old, you've had 15 years of belief system that they're saying, don't speak up, don't make a fuss, don't react. that training, to your point, overrides it. And I've actually shared this story a few times
Masking,
on this show,
right?
but there was one time I was in Virginia, I was in the middle of nowhere in a gas station, I was putting gas in my car, I go to pay, and as I'm walking back to the car, a guy's like, excuse me, miss, do you mind just helping me with my car? I was like, oh, what's the matter? Because if you can just get in the car and start the engine. Now, once upon a time, I would have ignored the hairs on the back of my neck. But because I had remembered, this is where you get trapped, Lisa. To your point, I just ran. So I really hope that's what this interview and this discussion does today, is that if you were the person that never trusted your gut instinct, if you were the person or the woman, like, again, not
Joey, she's got a lot of money and she wants to tell us. You can't be throwing shade on her. She's amazing. We love Lisa, will you?
blaming you, but how can we teach and train ourselves into starting to listen to it?
Yeah, I mean, there could be. And by the way, that story you just told, you know, I took a breath as you were saying that, because the minute he would have had you in that car, then you have lost all your power, right? Your personal power, A, because you're sat down, and if they're above you, but B, also you're now isolated, and C, why would he want you to do that? Why isn't he the person in the car turning the ignition and you're looking at whatever it is he wants you to see? So your gut, everything about that screamed red flag, run. And that's what I want people to do. And look, every woman has a scary story, and if not multiple. You know, I have many stories like that.
Many.
And I'd rather just seem impolite and a bit rude rather than the other consequence, which is something that changes my life forever, or maybe I don't even get out of that situation, right? Some women don't.
Yeah, as
because
I'm running, I'm literally saying to myself, oh my God, you're so silly. This poor guy probably just needs help with his car. Like, as I'm running, that's what's going on in my mind. But I know better.
Yeah.
So I'd rather look silly, embarrassed, a little like, oh God, I can't believe she just did that, than unfortunately the consequences.
Yeah. And, you know,
Is it Wonder Woman? Wait, is it Wonder Woman or Armani? I think it's Armani.
far too often the woman lets them
She has
either
Chanel
carry the bag,
well.
or they stay on the tube train, or they don't, you know, cross the road, they don't run, and there's serious repercussions as a consequence of that. But going back to the question about superficial charm, I mean, the first thing is to be watching and on the lookout for it, right? To be present and actively looking at, is this a genuine depth of charm, or are they trying to manipulate? Is it about increasing likability? And as I always say, charm disarms. So the first thing for me, because I am long in the tooth, I am cynical. You know, if someone compliments me, I'm a bugger, because I'm immediately, what do they want? What do they want? What are they seeking to achieve?
Yes.
Look, and people aren't born charming, right? It's a skill set that we develop. We learn that if we charm, a little bit of honey goes a long way, right? As my mum used to say. And so we learn that to more or less of a degree in our everyday lives. But psychopaths have it finely honed. So it is quite difficult to detect what is genuine and what's superficial. So what you're really looking for is, do they have a very shallow range of emotions?
Yes.
You know, it's these sorts of things. Is it a genuine depth of emotion, or does it feel like they're going through the motions? Because often that's how women might describe it to me. It's like they're ticking boxes and there's no real emotional depth. Or 1 minute they can be in one emotion, like they're really happy about something. Then I say something or I do something, and it's like the switch goes and they hit 0 to 60, but they come out of the 0 to 60 equally as quickly. So there's no real depth. Whereas most people, if you get worked up, you know, if I'm wound up, it takes a lot to get me there. But when I'm there, it takes quite a lot for me to calm down.
And you know, when you do sort of, you know, assert those kind of boundaries, or make, you know, if you were to say like, how dare you, that's assault, or something along those lines, it'd be like, calm down. Wow, I was just giving you a compliment. God, you're so touchy. Smile. You should smile more. You look better when you smile. Yeah, well, you look better a long way away from me.
And regulate.
I think it is Wonder Woman. And it's diamond encrusted. So that, does anybody want to do a Google image search on that? Diamond encrusted Wonder Woman pendant.
Late again, and I have to go for a walk or for a run, or, you know, go through the motions. That means that the emotion was deep. Psychopaths have no depth. They will just appear chameleon-esque. They will be mirroring back. So even when you're sitting with them, they will mirror back your body language. They will be mirroring everything that you're doing
much is it
to
like a memory?
increase likability, even through neurolinguistic programming. They're used.
I think, Nick, the thing is though that I don't know whether misconstrued is good manners. It's the ick factor, right? So I had I think I've told this story before. My work vehicle, my utility vehicle, my rental. It's a rental, right? My company has got sign written ones that the company owns, but I have a shitty rental ute, and I had to talk to the guy who owns the rental company about some repairs to the vehicle. And sidebar, he'd already given me his private number and then said, hey, we should talk on WhatsApp. So then the last time I had to speak to him on the phone, and I have a picture of myself on my WhatsApp, and I think I called him or he called me, regardless. I hate calls, so it was probably him calling me. I just text, and he said, oh, you should call me more often so I can, he goes, no, I forget how good looking you are until like you call me or I call you and I see your photo. I was like, ugh. So good manners and politeness and general affability doesn't come across as icky and creepy. Creepy is creepy is creepy. It's a gut instinct thing, right?
Use similar words. They will mirror and match and socially engineer things. So, oh, you go to that church? Oh, me too. Oh, you play tennis there? That's me too. And you're thinking, oh, wow, this person's, they say we're meant to be, you see?
Yeah.
And you end up saying, wow, we really are meant to be. Unfortunately, once people are hooked in, when people say, rose-tinted glasses, when we fall in love, we tend to see those signs, but we negate them. We put them to the side. And why I say that is because I do think women see these things, but often we don't want to admit that we've seen it, and we would far rather concentrate on the benefit of the doubt. So that's the other risk marker for me. If they're too good to be true, do your checks and balances. I think too many people go along with that whirlwind romance, and the psychopath, the coercive controller, will put it into a whirlwind. They will love bomb you. They will, have a strategic campaign to win your heart. They will say all the things, do all the things, the gifts, the friends, the family. Most of them will be encouraging this relationship because they're like, God, he's a great guy. Look, he's helping you out with the kids, and he's helping you out with your dad, and he's doing all these things. This guy really is the real deal. So they will be forcing you to see this person in a positive light too, if they're very good at charming. But as I always say, slow.
Nick, again, it depends on the intentions of the person. Charm with humor, with also an ick factor that makes you feel uncomfortable and creepy and like you're being creeped on, can be funny, charming, and creepy. It's just that you're not creepy, Nick. Let the women tell you this. It's a vibe, and we've all felt it, and it's like squirmy shit. It's like, ugh. I've said to people before, I've said to them before, like, please don't be creepy. And they're like, I was just giving you a compliment. And I'm like, yeah, no, it was creepy. Next.
Slow the relationship down. You want to see this person in every situation. You want to see them when they travel, when they're not in their comfort zone.
Oh, interesting.
When things don't work for them, who are they? That's who I'm interested in.
Coming up.
And if you do start to see these red flags, don't ignore them.
Shall we have a song break, chat? I feel like I'm going to pick the song. Wait, mouse, do your work, mouse. You guys can pick the next one, but I think that wait, am I remembering now? Oh, now I don't know. Shall we just have something? What about that newish one that everybody likes? I mean, it was probably 10 songs ago, lol, which was like a week ago. Ha! Enjoy.
Do not understand what this was all for. Ravage me, why? To settle a score that was never necessary. Putting some distance between you and me. and my whole life is distorted. All that matters to you is that your lies are perpetuated. Like I'm supposed to just let this go when y'all fucked me over, yeah, nah, hell no. Do not understand what this was all for. Ravage me wide, settle a score that was never necessary. Putting some distance between you and me. Asserted simple boundaries, decided instead you would come for me. Get the fuck out of here, not happy, still it continues, leave me be. Do not understand what this was all for. Ravage me wide, settle a score that was never necessary. Putting some distance between you and me. Pieces of shit, how fucking dare you collectively? You had a big time goal to take me down, everything that I've worked for. It ain't that simple, no settling scores. Trigger, you make me sick, reeling, don't suck my dick. Take it or fucking leave it, trust me, I ain't got no quit. Do not understand what this was all for. Ravage me wide, settle a score that was never ever necessary. Putting big distance between you and me. Guns out, we're done here. Dumpster fire, go
I do think that was kind of relevant, putting some distance between you and me, a narcissist, perhaps, a psychopath, you know, all the shit they do. What is the camping test? Go camping with them and see whether they pass the test. Camping. I'm not a huge fan of camping, but yes. Country metal. It's Southern Californian punk, but thank you. Who are we having singing this? Avril Lavigne. I don't think so. She's way too. I mean, maybe she has got a new song, but it's kind of cheesy. I think I'll sing it. I've got a nose whistle. Love that for us. Sorry, chat. Let's go back to this next part of this thing that we're watching about bad people.
Because it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse.
I freaking love creating content, and I know so many of my homies out there like you also do as well. It can take form fit so much.
I tried to get this.
Every
Wait.
situation. You want to see them when they travel, when they're not.
I looked at getting that. It's some AI thing that clips things from your content and makes shorts and short videos, because God knows Team Shorty has its already work cut out for us. We are busy behind the scenes. And there is not enough hours in the day. And I did the whole thing. I got the app, went to get into the app, and it wanted my credit card details. I'm not paying for it. Get the fuck out of here. So I just X'd out of it. Next. That's
free when you click the link in the show notes down there. Now back to the episode.
You know, you want to see this person in every situation. You want to see them when they travel, when they're not in their comfort zone.
Oh, interesting.
When things don't work for them.
So this is effectively the camping test, but maybe not just camping. I don't mind camping. I lived in my car for a year, so you know, been there, done that. I don't love the dirt on the floor and the getting down to floor level and the whole. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of camping. I have done it in my lifetime, but I'm with Joey. Room service, glamping. Let's do that.
Who are they? That's who I'm interested in.
Interesting. Okay, so being out of their norm, because it almost has, they have a little less control, so you can see how they respond to not having the control of the situation. Those are really clear signs. someone just may be in a bad mood. So I assume that's why you say take it slowly, because it's like, well, you can then see over a period of, let's say, a year, if they're consistently like that every time something goes wrong, or if it happened to be the time when they had a bad day at work.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. The long-term part is very important to see, because it's the biggest investment you'll make. And you want to understand their stresses, their pressures, their belief system, which I know you're very interested in. You want to understand all of that. But I always recommend you want the honeymoon to last as long as possible, right? Why would you want to accelerate things and hack the process? Where's the fire to do that? You want to see everything about them and how they operate, how they behave, and see them at their best, i.e. when you go on a date, that's at their best. But you also want to see them when things don't go the way that they want, when other people test their boundaries, when they're in a country where they don't speak the language, where the car breaks down and they don't know where they are or who to call, where they get lost, you know, on a journey, and how do they react to that? So I always think traveling really reveals the person. It shows how people can adapt and how they cope. And it gives you, if you're traveling with them, the 24/7, you are able to see them like the Rubik's Cube and turn it around to know whether, someone just had a bad day, something just didn't work out. Look, those things happen to all of us. But is it something that actually you see they have 0 to 60, this fire temper that comes out of nowhere? And some describe it as a white rage, and they get this ice cube effect, and you felt fear. You know, you want to see all of these things. And if you do start to see these red flags, don't ignore them, because it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse.
Let me take a deep breath, girl. Okay, I'd love to go over a few other ones, if that's okay with you. So we've got grandiose sense of self-worth. So what does that look like on a day-to-day?
They often think they're the best at whatever it is that they're interested in or aspiring to do or be, and it doesn't match with the experience. It doesn't match with their life experience or who they are, or what you see. So, you know, someone like Jeffrey Epstein wanted to come across as if he was an academic and a very smart guy. So he applies to some of the best places in New York.
Wait,
and
pause.
He doesn't get in,
Sidebar.
but then he starts teaching.
Sidebar. How much were they, Pokemomo? I can't call you just Pokemon anymore. I'll never be able to, Shelley. Did you see a price on a diamond-encrusted one? Because the jewelry is very expensive. It's gauche beyond belief. It's far too ostentatious for Joey's tastes. However, do we have a price tag? How much are we looking? What are we looking at? What are we looking at on the old Wonder Woman pendant? Because I think I need that.
I think it was maths at one of the best colleges there, with no qualification whatsoever. But because of his confidence level, and he was a good talker, charismatic when he chose to be, because there's a lot of people say he didn't have those interpersonal skills. He did when he wanted something, and people didn't question it. And so you see a lot with these guys, and predominantly it is men we're talking about, is they talk a really good game, but their qualifications and experience does not match that game. But they are so confident that people just believe them. And that is a big difference between women and men, because women actually tend to, even if they have the skill set, they underestimate that level of skill set or what value they bring to the table.
So this is a theme that Joey and I have been talking about, is that women do tend to, and I know I'm guilty of this. I think Matilda, you would also be guilty of this, is underestimating and underselling our what we can do, and then just, you know, doing it in spades, right? And more, running rings around the folks that talk themselves up, that can't do shit for shit.
These guys really ramp it up. They are the best at this thing, whatever it might be. As I was changing the law on coercive control, there was a case of a woman called Vicky Cilliers who sadly plummeted from a plane. She had a parachute on. She was a parachute instructor. She had just had her second baby, and her husband encouraged
this is a trigger
her to
warning.
do another jump. And her husband...
This is wild. It's okay. It ends up okay, but kind of not. Listen to this, chat. Yikes.
Husband. For all intents and purposes, he looked like he ticked every box of being a pillar of the community when you see him in military dress and so on. Well, he encourages her to take this jump, which she does, but the parachute doesn't open, and nor does her reserve. It had been sabotaged, and she plummets 4,000 feet. And Lisa, whoever was looking out for her that day, it's incredible because she survived.
What?
She survived 4,000 foot drop.
How do you survive that?
I mean, they all felt they were going to find her and need a body bag, right? But she was still alive, and they rushed her to hospital, and she survived. And when the chief instructor at Netheravon Airfield examined the parachute, right, this is 1 in a billion of 2 chutes not opening. 1, you can understand, but your reserve. So he took the whole chute apart and saw it had been sabotaged, calls the police. The police suspect the husband, Emil Cilliers, who had encouraged her to do this jump, and they start to investigate him. But Victoria's having none of it. And what they find is when they look at his phones, he's been not just dating many other women, but seeing sex workers. His sole preoccupation is with sex, not work, but sex. And he's not just cheated, he's run up financial debt. He's done so many terrible things, and they believe that he is responsible. And they find out from one of her friends who was a doctor who called them, who said their relationship is really problematic. I'm really worried. She's my best friend. I shouldn't be telling you this, but I'm so worried. I'm going to tell you what's going on in this relationship, which she does. And she said, if Emil Cilliers was anywhere near that parachute before Victoria jumped, you have to look at him. And that's what they did. And they found out that he had taken the parachute into the toilet with their toddler and was in there for 5 minutes before her jump. So that when they speak to Victoria, she just couldn't believe it. But she said, well, I suppose I should probably tell you about the gas leak. And the officer said, what gas leak? So she then says, oh, a week ago, the
tough life
gas valve under the sink had been opened. And I text Emil. I said, you know, did you touch the gas valve under the sink? He said, well, can you turn the stove on? Test it by turning.
Interesting fun fact, that abusive ex George that I was talking about, psychopathic checklist score 37, if I recall correctly, but didn't include infidelity on that, and he was absolutely a cad. So let's call him a 38, shall we? One time I had water in my basin in my bathroom, and I had my hair dryer, and it was plugged in. And he was standing behind me in the bathroom. This was at the height of like 2018, the year that broke me. And he whispered very quiet. We were having a normal conversation. And he whispered very quietly in my ear, you should put that hairdryer in the basin. Tried to suggest that I electrocute myself. Nice guy.
Turning the stove on. She didn't do that, thank goodness. But that was the second follow-up, and that's when they decide, when she tells them that they're going to go and arrest him. And when they tell her they're going to arrest him, her world fell apart. She couldn't handle it, and she protested on his side. She defended him. Such was the coercive control and the manipulation. But Emil Cilliers, whenever he met women, he was the best at everything. And if you start to look at their history, you see that actually their experience, their qualifications, it doesn't match to the talk. But there's that kernel of truth, i.e., he was in the British Army, he was a sergeant, and there he is in his military dress with his shiny shoes, and you would never suspect that he was a psychopath. But it took a female detective whose instinct about
terrifying. It was terrifying.
For 6 hours he talked at her with misogyny and the way he talked about women and about Victoria.
When George was having psychotic breaks, which were often, I used to have to hide all the knives. Not very clever, not very far away. I used to just put them in the space between the kitchen bench top and the dishwasher, or even just put them in the dishwasher top rack and hide all the knives, because he'd grab just a little paring knife, very sharp, and carry it around. Yes, good times. Yikes.
He was going to leave her. He doubted baby number 2 was even his. He questioned the paternity, and this female detective's listening to him and is just thinking, this guy we've really got to look at him.
You know what's fascinating? I mean, thank you for sharing that. That's utterly heartbreaking. One thing you actually said is it took a woman police officer to trust her gut and recognize it. But what's sad is the wife didn't trust her gut. The fact that he turned on the gas and was like, oh, just switch it on to see if it works. That wasn't enough of a sign for her.
Well, you see, I think it was. And Victoria, I've always been very interested in, because when it went to trial, she sabotaged the trial. She said that she was the one who sabotaged her own parachute. So the question is, why would she do that, right? When there were 2 attempts on her life. So I was always very interested, and I always am, in victimology.
Hi, Cheryl.
And what it really talked to with Victoria is that the betrayal trauma was so great. She just could not accept.
Did you have
that
cheese?
This man who she had this fairy tale wedding with, and she'd been married before, she wanted this happy ending. The betrayal trauma was so catastrophic, she couldn't deal with it. But she knew.
So, chat, remember last week we did the betrayal live stream with Dr. Ramani. We went off topic a little bit. We don't focus too well after a couple of hours of Dr. Ramani, but betrayal is I think one of the most difficult things to come to terms with is the betrayal, the being lied to and being presented, someone presenting a situation or themselves to you as being something other than they are, than that realization, whether it's through their actions or finding out facts about them, that they're a registered sex offender, pedophile, that kind of thing, shocking.
Knew deep down, because otherwise why would she say to the police, oh, I suppose I should tell you about the gas valve? She offered that.
Heather's here also.
Right,
Hi,
so you
Heather.
look for the clues in amongst things where when someone's being gaslit by an expert manipulator, they don't know which way is up.
Yum, man.
But their gut, they normally have a sense deep down. So when they say something like that and then they're angry with the police for pursuing it, they're telling you really that, yes, they've been gaslit, they've been manipulated, but they cannot deal with that betrayal trauma.
I haven't forgotten,
And
Joey. I'm
often
looking at the
with
clock.
victims,
3
particularly of
minutes.
psychopaths and coercive controllers, they may well defend that person. And again, the reason being is because the love, the attachment, the emotional attachment and investment is so great. And they want the person to go back to who they were when they first met them. And they will say,
What's that one? Lost cost fallacy. No, sunk cost fallacy. The amount of time, effort, energy, emotion, sometimes money you've sunk into someone often makes people reluctant to walk away from that situation or person because they've put so much into it. That's what she's talking about. It's hard. Sometimes cutting your losses and just, writing that situation or that person or those people off is the only way to do it. Sometimes you just got to walk away from something and never look back, right? Let them.
I just want him to go back to who he was when I first met him, Laura. And I'll say, well, tell me about that. And they say, those first 6 months, Laura,
Yes!
they were incredible.
Wait.
And then they start to describe the too good to be true, the perfect.
Pause. Cheryl, we're doing a quality check on things. How's the quality of the magnet? Is the print, are the colors nice and strong? Are the lines on the design sharp or not so much? And if they're not so much, apologies. Hey, Sammy, also good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Mwah. It's morning over there. It is almost midday. We're about to do a draw of a very small number of entries into the pick anything off the merch store draw. And second and third prize are going to be a magnet or a hologram sticker. So just so you know, over every weekend, anybody who super chats, super stickers, gifts a membership, becomes a member, buy me a coffee or PayPal. Yes, we have PayPal now. It's paypal.me/Camp Shorty, capital C, capital S. So we're about to do, shall we do it now, seeing as I'm talking about it? So last weekend, I think there's 10 entries in here. 10. It's not many. I just had to tip out all of the last entries from the last raffle because I just left them in here. I just put this little vase in the, hey, look, it matches with the color of the background. I put this little vase in my cupboard and I forgot about it because that was 2 months ago. So Whoever I draw out first will be first prize. We should have a drum roll. We don't. Something else maybe. So Candy, you'll go in for next weekend. Yes. Lovely. And we're going to do, I was going to say just stickers every other weekend, but I've decided no, we'll do a t-shirt every weekend. Choose any t-shirt off the or singlet or like any like t-shirt, singlet or stringer if you want a flex back stringer. And then once a month, and this is this one, it'll be 3 prizes, and the first prize gets to choose whichever thing they want off the merch store. If you go to missshorty.com and then click the shop tab, you can go to the link, or it's fourth wall. And wait, ding, member for 3 months. So proud of you, Lisa. Or 2 months, surely longer. I mean, time, what is it? Time is a tree with many branches, right? This. Yes, thank you. I'm proud of me too. I'm proud of us. We're amazing, shorties. So I'm going to I'm going to do this. I'm not going to look. So the first name I draw out, it wouldn't be funny if it's Steph, because she won the last raffle. She said, if I win, I'm not winning. Give it to someone else. I'm like, yeah, no, if you win, you win. It's fair, it's fair. Okay. Okay, I've got one. Chat. This is first prize. This is pick whatever you want off the merch store. I'm not even looking until I look. I can't open it. They're little fucking, I know who it is, and you guys don't know yet. Shorties. Wait. I'm dying. The suspense is going to kill all of us. First prize, pick anything you want off the merch store. Holly. And you're in chat too. Holly, congratulations. Pick whatever you want. First prize, Holly Street. P.S. Still haven't organized this second monitor hooked up, but that's fine. Congratulations, Holly. Let me go back to chat. Yay, Holly, congratulations. Yes. Wait, that was the wrong thing. Clicking. Oh, Joey, take the wheel. Yes. So many things to choose from. Our Matilda has done the most. Shut up. I'm not going to shut up. Whatever you want, man. Pick whatever you want. Get the 69 jacket. I've got a bold and mysterious 69 jacket coming. Oh my God, I spent $1,000 on the merch store. Yikes. Okay, so this is either a hologram tattoo, a hologram sticker or a magnet. It was going to be stickers, but the stickers are taken off the market for now because we're working on quality. So this is someone here. Congratulations, Holly. Yay. This is second and third prize. It doesn't matter at the same time. Who's this? Brit Ketchel. Wait, I shouldn't have done it like that. Fuck. I'm terrible at this. God damn it. My nails are like long claws, and can I open this shit up? No, it's Brit. Congratulations, Brit. You can choose whether you want a magnet or a hologram sticker. Yes? Yes. Brit Ketchel. Yes. No, Holly, you have to take something expensive. Brit Ketchel. Holly, you have to take something expensive. Brit, you just won a sticker or a magnet. That's so cool. You have to. That's the whole point of it. You have to. And anyway, it pays the mods because all proceeds from the merch store, not all, but after business expenses, which is not me, it's not profit, it's paying for shit. It's all going to the mods anyway. You're a hoodie whore. There you go. There's a 69 hoodie. You choose. Let me know. DM me. Holly Street, come on down. Okay. And I see Amy's in the house. Good to see you, Amy. And who else? Brit, you won. I am. Good. Heather, we meet again. I'm a hoodie whore. I missed that. And one more. So this is a magnet or a hologram sticker. I suppose maybe if you wanted a mug. Brit, if you want a mug, sticker, hologram, or magnet. I don't know why I'm shaking it up so much. There's hardly any. I'm doing this one properly. Fuck's sake. Don't look. Cheating. Cheaters never prosper. I can see it, and I'm not saying it before I'm showing you guys. Shorties. Eee. Candy Temple, a mug, a sticker, a hologram sticker, or a magnet. You choose. Let me know. Yes, congratulations. So every weekend, Every other weekend, it'll be a T-shirt, and the one weekend a month, whatever you want, and 3 prizes. That's that. All profits going to giving back to the Shorty community. Yes. Congratulations. Yay. I'm so happy that everybody was here too. Like, that's pretty cool. Yay. Woohoo. Candy. Yes. So let me know. DM me, email me, contact me through the website. Yeah. Joey goes, yeah, she's spending all the business expenses. That's because we're a great team, Joey. Shall we go back to... Oh, wait. Sorry, Lisa Beaulieu. Wait, what am I doing? I don't even know. I can't. I try. I can't. Sorry, Lisa, for the dirty pause. What do you think of it now, Joey? Oh, my goodness. So any super chat, any super sticker, any of the things get you in the draw. All weekend, every camp shorty, all campers, every camp shorty. We're doing it every weekend. Hey, actually, yes, because Candy, of course, Candy, you went in the draw for next weekend as well. You're pulling a Miss Shorty on Publicly Buzzed. I go in the draw every week as well because Publicly Buzzed have a wheel. It's a mean mug if ever I've seen one. Right, Heather? We don't be fucking with Lisa Beaulieu. She's cool. Joey thinks she's ostentatious and gauche. I think she's cool.
Perfect. And they may have been with him. I had one lady who was with this guy for 10 years, and for the first 6 months he was that, but for the rest of the time he abused her in every way, and she really thought that first 6 months that was him.
Magnet or mug or
the 9 years
hologram
of
sticker.
his behavior, because there are good times too as well, peppered in that 9
You wish,
years,
Joey.
right? And the offender will leverage those things. So going back to Victoria Cilliers, she still even saw him after the first trial failed, because they did go to a second trial. She even went to go and see him, and he started doing the head work again, trying to manipulate, trying to get back in. And she was the one that really swayed the jury, because she's also an incredible woman. I mean, she's very smart, very well put together, smart, eloquent. You know, we're not talking about women who are naive or silly. We're talking about women who've got their shit together, quite frankly. But they believe in the power of love. They believe in what they're being sold, and they don't believe someone could be so diabolical, Lisa. And unfortunately, with my work, I know they can be so diabolical.
They really can.
They can mask it very well too.
They really can.
Wow. So is he, would you diagnose him as a psychopath?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this is Dr. Robert Hare's psychopathy checklist. So he has 20 traits listed. And I can do indirect assessments of someone if, and only if, I can talk to the people who know that individual very well, i.e. they've lived with them, their sister, their mother, their wife, their partner, their best friends, these people that can hold the mirror up to who the perpetrator really is. So yes, when I did the indirect assessment of John Meehan, going back to Dirty John, because Tonya, the first wife, and I had reinvestigated John Meehan, and I said to her when I first met her, you don't really know who John is. You know some of the things. And she said, no, I've been to therapy, Laura. I'm far along the line to Deborah. And I said, what I've understood of John Meehan, he was so prolific. You will only know a tiny portion of his life, what he wants you to see. Because I'm
going to pause again and go back to that, how the pirate flag tattoo, right? Which I'm keeping because it's a good reminder for me that I thought I knew everything about narcissists, like toxic, heavily toxic people. Psychopaths, I've seen it all. I thought I can pick them a mile off. I'm a red flag hunter. Nobody's getting past my prowess, knowledge, and experience in terms of narcissists. And surprisingly, lo and behold, my ego got in the way because I thought I knew it all about that. And I didn't, because one got through. Right. So I keep that pirate flag tattoo always as a reminder to never think I know everything, not just about that bullshit, but in general. It's going to be very symbolic for me to keep my ego in check about how good I am and how much I know about all of the things. Sit the fuck down, Lisa. Your fucking delusions are showing. Oh, my mouse just went off. It would have been a perfect spot to press play, but I didn't. I missed that moment.
I could tell she was a lovely woman as well. She didn't dig and ask questions. And so when Dirty John hit the TV show, and she sees, she's just a tiny portion of it, well, she was with him for 10 years. And it made her go back to the conversation she and I had. And she said, you know what, I need to ask those questions, because she had 2 children with him. So we went all the way back into his childhood, speaking to his sisters, speaking to his mother. Couldn't speak to his dad because his dad died in very suspicious circumstances when John was in the room. His brother died in very suspicious circumstances. But talking to some of his friends, people who hadn't been spoken to before, and with Tonya, I could do an indirect assessment of John Meehan, and he scored 40 out of 40 on the psychopathy checklist.
What kind of questions are you asking the people that he knows then to find out if he has those traits or not?
First of all, I wouldn't sit with them and ask them the 20 traits. I would ask them to describe their relationship with that person. And you can pick these things out and you can say, well, tell me about that. And then you start to get an understanding, and then you match it across other people's, telling, okay, doesn't take responsibility, has no empathy. So you can start to build that picture. So although I have the 20 traits, and if I'm talking to a woman like Tonya or Deborah, where they've had a relationship, I use the dash as well, because the dash is really victim focused.
Thank God.
Psychopathy checklist, revised by Dr. Robert Hare, is ultimately perpetrator focused. But what I do find, and I've had to get involved in multiple campaigns to keep very dangerous psychopaths in prison.
I don't know what that is.
Come up because they can charm the professional.
What is that? Is it like a chameleon or something? Lagartha? What's that? God damn it. Chat, you're derailing me. We're on a time crunch. We've got a tight, hard stop, a deadline. We're going to Feral Friday at 9, your time, 1 my time. Got to get up a little bit earlier, but Steve's always late, so that's fine. What's Lagartha? Do I have to Google that? Is that on Pornhub or what? Fucking weirdos. You're a Norse? I don't know what Lagartha. Ah, thank you. Voice of reason, Shelley. Okay. She's the wife of Ragnar. I don't know much about much, do I? Clearly, I'm keeping the pirate flag tattoo for many reasons. My knowledge is very small. Can write songs, though. Yikes.
Into thinking that they have empathy, they have remorse, they tick these boxes, and they charm the professionals too. And people get sucked into their retelling of a story that doesn't check back to the true facts. But every lie serves a purpose. So what I find with the indirect assessments of talking to many different people who knew that, say John Meehan, it tends to be much more reliable because you've got multiple sources corroborating. There's
a reason for me pausing. You know what we do. You know we do this. Okay. She's cool. I like her. You dream about her, Joey? Okay. That's a bit Avril Lavigne for you, Nick. Is this? I'll do my makeup like this for tomorrow with Joe Tecapina, shall I? Makeup and hair? Lol. Joey, I'll be Lagartha if you can be this guy in the background. Can you do your hair like that? You can be the Queen's consort like that. So it's a show. Oh, is Vikings a show, is it? Cool. Today I learned that. Is it real? Wait, no. Is this a Richard Allen thing? Well, Jesus, fuck, Joey. What the fuck? What are you guys watching? You guys are sickos. Sign me up. All right. We'll talk offline. Joke. Okay, share this instead. Back to the serious shit. You guys, shorties, I love you so much. Chatties Bay.
Those who rely just on the perpetrator, well, you better watch out, because mostly they don't tell the truth. And yet professionals don't have that on their radar, that if they are a psychopath, well, maybe they haven't even screened them for psychopathy.
Man, I'm permanently feral.
Pathological lying is one of the key traits.
Oh my God. The way you broke that down is so enlightening and scary and horrifying. Because I think about, well, if these professionals who, from my perspective, right, these, parole officers, they're all professionals. If they can't spot it, how do us women on an average Wednesday, going on a random day, going to be able to spot that so that we don't become the
It's
next
very
victim.
tricky.
I mean, with Tonya, when she got together with John
Yes,
and they
colours.
met in a bar, and I said,
Sicklers.
tell me how you met. Well, she actually just said, we met in a bar. And I said, well, tell me about it, because I really have to dig deep. And she said, well, I was with my friend, you know, we're all kicking off. We
This
had a
is wild.
stressful day at the hospital. I go to the bathroom and he was there. He was there with his mate, stood at the toilet. And she said, and I went to go in, he said, hey, and he started, you know, chatting me up, bit of banter. I went into the toilet. When I came back, he was still there. And he continued and he asked me what I did for a living. I said, well, what did you say? She said, nurse. And I said, tick. She said, well, why do you say tick? I said, because you're compassionate, you're empathetic, you're kind.
Oh.
And that's what he knows. The setup happens immediately, right? But then he said, can I buy you a drink? And I said, but you told me it was ladies' night. Wasn't it free drinks? She said, yeah. And so he didn't buy you a drink. No, but he seemed a nice guy. And his friend left and he stayed. And I thought he just wanted to chat. But he asked me, could I take him home, give him a lift? And I said, no. I said, well, good for you. She said, yeah. But then I said, yes. I said, oh. And she said, then I told him, I'm not coming in your house and I'm going to sit outside in the car. He said, oh, come on. And so she said, I won't.
What's
I
you?
went in. Well, we were just messing around. We're playing basketball, you know, and it got a bit.
What's you? I'm looking at the time. We're going to be fucked. We have to, well, we have to cut it a bit short. Fuck, we can never stay on topic. What's you? Is that a show?
More tactile. So then he went in to kiss me. I said, oh. And then what happened? She said, it's not my proudest moment, Laura. We did end up sleeping together and I've never done this before. And
Thank you. I'm learning so much today.
Afterwards.
I don't watch
And
shows.
I just notched it up to this one night stand. And I said, well, what happened next? And she said, the next day I'm in the hospital and I get paged over the tannoy. And it was him. He wanted to go to talk to me and he called up the hospital. He paged me there and he said, I want to take you out on a proper date. I said, you thought it was romantic, right? She said, yes. Because I was in the shame of the one night stand. And I said, he knew that. And I said, what's more is that he knows that you're somebody who no could be a yes. You didn't hold your boundary. And I said, I'm not judging you or shaming you, but it's just an example again of you tick every criteria on his list. And really,
YouTube Premium for the win. We're going back to that boundary setting show. This is what Laura's talking about now. Setting boundaries and holding firm on your boundaries is really important. So if you're loose on your boundaries or not holding steadfast to the boundaries, even the small things, that's grooming, right? We talked about that in the boundary show a few weeks ago. So if you seem to be a bit of a pushover on the things that you try to set boundaries for, you know, rules, goalposts, and they move, then that suggests that you are more likely to be easily persuaded on other things, but more important, more pertinent, more consequential things. If the smaller things you kind of kowtow to.
really his strategic game of forcing women to fall in love with him was very
YouTube
strong.
Premium, that's it, mate.
Very, very strong. And that's why it's very difficult to detect. And going back to the question about parole boards and probation, and they should be trained in this stuff, right? But unfortunately, when it comes to releasing offenders, they are solely focused on them. They're not focused on what they did to victims and really what happened and protecting the public, which is what they should be. They're not trained on psychopathy. They're not trained to understand, you know, the key behaviors. And equally, what I will say is, you know, a lot of professionals do get sucked in, hoovered in by psychopaths. They want to believe them. And they want to help them. And they also want to be the one who helped them. I have this connection with them, Laura, you don't understand. It's me who can help them. They're not that person anymore. They've told me things they've never told anybody, and I believe them. And I'm always very curious about that. Because if you've got a psychopath, they don't age out.
Pause. Again, back to George. I never thought I could help him at all. I knew very, 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 very clearly and distinctly from the almost the very first couple of weeks, this was a very dangerous man, and I was already well and truly embroiled, coercively controlled, and unable to escape until it ran its course on his terms. Yikes. Thank God I didn't end up dead. But and to this day, I still believe that my time in his life, or his in mine, my purpose was to make sure that for that period of time he didn't kill anybody, and to try and navigate him through that, not killing someone. It could have been that I was the one he killed, but I counseled him and I steered him as best I could in certain ways that kind of helped. I mean, the last I heard, he was in jail, just jail, not prison, for being under his mother's house, under underneath the floor, underneath, John Wayne Gacy style, digging a grave with a jackhammer in the middle of the night to put a body in. I don't know whether he ever found. I guarantee you, he probably has already killed someone. But while I was with him, no deaths on my watch.
You cannot cure them. There's no rehabilitation. There's nothing current day, as I sit here now, that we know works to cure a psychopath and render them safe to be out in the public.
They just get better at hiding it as they get older.
Correct.
It's a cool name.
We just give them the blueprint of how not to get caught again and what they need to say when they do get caught. So they get better. They learn their tradecraft, and that's what I call it. It's a tradecraft. And everything is about notching up knowledge of how to get better at what they do and how to exploit and how to have power and control over people and dominate people. And their biggest kick is when they get the police officer, the probation officer, the parole board fighting their corner, that they've changed. And many of them find religion in prison. You know, they're now evangelical and they're religious, and psychopaths don't age out. I've seen men in their 70s, 80s still committing sexual offenses, and it's women and children who pay that price.
She's shook us.
Keep sharing this. I can't imagine how hard it is to live it and go through it every
Wait.
day. And part of
Pause. I guarantee you right then, Lisa wasn't that shooketh. She was like, fuck, what do I say next? Yikes. Yeah. That'll be me tomorrow night with Joe.
if it's okay that I can share this, that just before we've got on camera, one of the things you said is we're now giving them information of what we women are looking out for. And so I do understand that sometimes even the information that we're sharing to help women can end up being a double-edged sword, because yes, we're helping women get the tools and tactics, but also we're giving the men who are psychopaths the knowledge of what we know about them. I think it could be very useful for the people watching to kind of have this checklist. And then I would love to go into coercive control and how coercive control really is almost the beginning to the trap that we're talking about.
So you have to link these things together. A psychopath doesn't just do one thing. They're always looking, they're always on the make. They're always looking for the next target, the next thing that they're doing. So that's where criminal versatility comes in. They would do lots of different things. John Meehan is very interesting because many police forces investigated him here in America. No one joined up all his serial offending behavior until one female detective got involved. But he knew how to work the system. So even on one of the times after an assault, he turns up to court, female judge, and he says, oh, you know, I've got dogs and I haven't sorted them out. So I understand you're going to send me to jail, but can you just give me a day to just get my dogs sorted out? Well, everyone loves animals, don't they? So she's like, okay, I'll give you 23 hours. And that's what she gave him. And he's wreaked havoc in those 23 hours. So he had understood the system very well. He'd never served time, hard time, even though the short sentence that he had on that occasion, he came out of prison and that's when he...
You know, Simi, I don't get nervous. I actually don't get nervous about anything. Isn't that weird? I'll be psyching myself up and preparing myself, but I don't get nervous. I wasn't nervous about interviewing Bob Motta and Ali Motta. I wasn't nervous about interviewing Turtle Boy. I just, it's not. I felt a huge sense of sickening dread before the live stream that Colours Flight and I did together. That's probably the one time I felt nerves. I felt like almost I was on the verge of vomiting for hours, not because it was with colors, but because of what we had to talk about. And I knew that there would be some really heavy ramifications for that conversation, and there was, but we had to do it. So yeah, I guess it is a superpower. Like, yeah, I don't get nervous. I have social anxiety about things, and I can separate my emotions from situations. I don't know if that's a superpower or a coping mechanism, but yeah, I don't.
That's when he met Deborah Newell, and the night
I won't
afterwards,
wait.
he was on a dating site, put a pic.
At this point, I haven't even done any research on Joe. I know very little. I probably should. I won't have any questions written down. I never do. I just wing it, and it always works out okay.
Picture up of him wearing scrubs with a tan, and meets Deborah. They end up going on a date. Oh, can I come back to yours? And she says yes.
Wow. So the versatility that they're getting arrested, they're getting off, they're getting arrested, just is an indication that they have zero respect for the law or for anything that goes beyond what they care about and want.
Correct. Yeah. And sometimes it might look quite small. With John, it was drugs. You know, he was a drug addict, and he was using and he was stealing from the hospital. And we suspect there were multiple murders as well.
Wow. That we just don't know about.
Well, at the time weren't investigated as murders, like his father and his brother, who he was sending drugs to, and the possibility, yes, of other women.
And none of this came out until he became the official Dirty John that we all know?
Correct.
Wow.
They all believed his story because he sounded so plausible. And that's always the challenge. Do you really know who you're living with? And the minute you get that inkling something's off, which Tonya did, then follow it. And that's why the coercive control law is so important. For there to be a law for men like him, that is the crime, the entrapment, the threats. I mean, Deborah couldn't even get a restraining order, couldn't even get a protective order, which is just bonkers. And there was no officer joining up all his history across the states in America. And that's part of the work I've been doing on serial perpetrators, of why aren't we joining up serial domestic abusers and stalkers and having their data and their information all on one database, like sex offenders and terrorists, because these men are terrorists.
Nick, what I want to say is I know fucking everything now, but remember how I'm going to always remember that I don't know everything? No, I'll always be susceptible because it's my openness and my light and my there's something about me that those kind of people are drawn to. And so I just have to be wary and to like she said at the start, like Laura said at the start, and this applies to all of us, to listen to our guts, to those creepy moments, those moments that you feel, whether it's personal safety, physical safety, or things that you're like, little things, those little tiny red flags, orange flags even, man. I just called it a couple of weeks ago. I called it off with the guy that sent me roses, right? Because I was like, oh, no way, whoa. He got me as well. So I think I'll always be susceptible, and that's fine. I just, it is what it is.
Terrorists, they terrorize many women and children, and we don't do anything to stop that.
Yeah. God, there's so much there. The idea of this coming out only because something even more horrific happened is horrifying. And in your story, as you were talking, I was just like going back to this list of how many things that he has done that is on your list. So, I mean, lack of remorse and guilt, conning and lack of sincerity, short-tempered, poor behavioral control, early behavior problems, impulsivity, lack of realistic or long-term plans. Like, all of these things really do highlight if we know what to look out for.
So, Cheryl, we're talking about 20 red flags that should not be ignored. And she didn't list off, I mean, there probably is 20, I haven't been counting. But it's a basic reminder of all the things, just reminding us as women and men, but mostly I think it's women being susceptible to and preyed upon by generally narcissistic and potentially sometimes psychopathic men. Not all narcissists are psychopaths, but all psychopaths are narcissists. So this just goes in our psychology corner of learning about things, learning to spot things, sharing our experiences, reminding ourselves of these things so that we are better equipped to move forward in life with the tools and the understanding, empowered to navigate away from, even if we do get caught up in these kind of people, to as soon as possible to steer clear of them or get away from them before it becomes too late, because it can end. We all know these kind of people are dangerous not just emotionally but physically, our lives and our health and our, it's just really smart to share this stuff, to if we know it or we think we know it, to remind ourselves and have it in the fore of our mind always. And it might not necessarily always have to be in relationships. It could be with, employers. Employers can do a huge amount of damage when they're bosses, when they're toxic, narcissistic, and potentially psychopathic. And there's plenty of them out there.
Then maybe we can start to protect
family
ourselves.
members.
So apart from this list as well, you've spoken about many times in this talk about coercive control.
Not this.
From what I understand, I'd love for you to explain more. It's the master
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
That no one sees coming, that if you speak up about it, people...
God damn it. Yes, Cheryl, tomorrow I'm interviewing Joe Tacopina. He approached me and asked if he could come, or said he would love to talk to me anytime. Reached out to me through the website on the Contact Us form, Googled it, found it, reached out, and I said, sure, how about this weekend? He said, yeah, I'd love to. And he's bought a whole bunch of Joe Tacopina Mr. Flexback merch also from the store, because he has his whole range on our website.
People just think, oh, you're going
God
crazy.
Damn it.
What are you talking about?
Keep reading, Lisa.
That's part of the master of the trap. So what are the things that make up coercive control? What are the actions? And then how is that the master trap for us women?
Yeah, excellent question. And that's what's missing off the psychopathy
up
checklist. Right, Dr. Robert Hayer has 20 traits, but power and control and coercive control, that is the motivation of the psychopath. And we have to make this connection when it happens. And a coercive controller will do that. They will set the trap. When you first meet them, they will be all the things, right? They will be too good to be true. And even Deborah said, he was too good to be true. And I said, and that is true, Deborah. So I have to be very clear when I work with people. I don't sugarcoat things. I am a very direct communicator. If someone is too good to be true, do your due diligence. Often they really try and increase likability through the charm approach. You're not like other women. You're just incredible. They will give you everything that you value that makes you feel amazing, and you feel so special. You feel so seen by this person. It's like it was meant to be, Laura. He just knew things and we just matched across. It was like we were meant to be together. And they will say that too. They will keep repeating those things back. Let's say 6 months down the line, because honeymoons does tend to be in that 6-month window, right? There might be a change, and I'll use it with an example of Alice Ruggles, a case that still haunts me, of a young woman who's very vivacious, great personality, jokester, prankster, and then she met this guy called Tryman Harry Dillon, and he was in the military. And my first question, once I understood the case, was how did they meet? He found her on Facebook, going through his friends' friends, and he sends her a message, and he said, "You're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I would love to talk to you." So Alice feels special, right? So that's a prime example. You feel special, you feel seen.
Before you go on, would it be specifically work more on people that aren't obviously beautiful? Because if you're really beautiful and you get it every single day, you'll be like, thank you, and move on.
Yeah.
Is that part of the trap?
Yeah, I mean, it can be. It's tailor-made. So you're exactly right to pick up at that point. So whatever it is that they see that you value,
right,
they will tailor-make it to that. And that's what makes coercive control and psychopaths so dangerous. It's idiosyncratic. The same thing never repeats over and over. So that's a really good pickup point. And that's why every case has to be looked at on its own merit. So for Alice, yes, she was attractive, but he really leaned into that. She was young, just finishing university. So not much life experience in terms of dating. And he says all these things that make her feel great. So she starts dating him. But within, I think it's about 4 months, he starts to say things like, wow, your nose is really big. Has anyone ever said that to you before? And so, she's kind of like, oh, that feels really incongruent to all the other things. She doesn't think that rationally, but of course it feels very jarring. And then he says things like, your arms are really hairy. Has anyone ever said that? Oh my God, your arms are so hairy. He would pick up like things that just made Alice feel just so horrible about herself. And he would be jealous of her spending time with friends, and he would
Hi,
try and
Jim.
monopolize her time.
Wait,
So
my
he would
mouse.
change from being
Jim
this charming
Cox.
guy to then
Everybody loves
layering in these things,
Cox.
which left her
Good to
feeling very
see you.
confused. But her personality started to change, and her family and friends noticed that. She was becoming withdrawn. She didn't want to go out. There were always these arguments between them. So within a 6-month window, it was very evident to family, friends, but they didn't ask. When women start to lose weight, you get complimented. Well, we shouldn't compliment. We should.
We've already had a big, long discussion about this, Cheryl. We've decided it is Wonder Woman. It's a diamond encrusted necklace, Wonder Woman necklace pendant. Lisa Beaulieu has 1.33 million subscribers on YouTube. I've decided we love her. She's up there with Dr. Ramani. She does these really fantastic, really enlightening interviews. We're covering some of her stuff mostly every week at the moment, interspersed with Dr. Ramani still. So, but she has a style, a look, an aesthetic, which is quite over the top. And she's got this giganto, what'd you guys say? Batman utility belt watch on her wrist. It's enormous. She sometimes wears big Chanel chunky gold shit. She's got a lot of money, and she likes her stuff big. That's what she said.
Should find out the reason why they're losing weight. She was losing weight.
I gotta let the dogs out. Hang on.
And he does end up, after she has rejected him, he decides that he's going to kill her, a premeditated murder, and stabs her many times. And her best friend finds her dead. And
why did he kill her? Sorry, maybe I missed something. What was the catalyst to
well,
that?
rejection and revenge for the psychopath. I can do what I want. I can cheat on you, and they will be very sexually promiscuous. They would do all of these things, but the double standard is you cannot do that, and you cannot reject them. And if you do, the diabolical nature of these individuals, I really cannot underline that enough. That it's like a switch that goes, and they want revenge, and they are vengeful, and they will kill on that basis. And Truman Harry Dillon stabbed her many, many times. He drove up to Edinburgh, goes out on a date.
Oh my God.
That's the callous disregard. You see, as soon as I learned that, I knew he was a psychopath. And that's what I'm talking about. No empathy, no remorse, never gave her a second thought. Killed her in the bloodiest of way, knife, wet work, stalked her before that, made her life absolutely miserable. And he just goes out on a date.
There's a stat actually that I have. So you said for somebody to leave, it takes them often 7 to 8 tries to actually finally leave. I assume that's because of the web of manipulation.
Chat, I'm so bad at this. We're definitely going to run out of time to watch this entire episode, but before I have to sign off, because we've got Feral Friday publicly buzzed. I'm guesting with Steve tonight. We'll start off on YouTube and then head over to Kick. We're watching a movie. There'll be boobs, gore, or perhaps it's a comedy. I'm not sure, but there's always boobs. So we'll watch a little bit more. This episode is linked in the description box. So if you'd like to watch it yourself and watch the end, minus my commentary, can't imagine why you'd want to do that. But anyway, I mean, it's not a deal breaker. I'd like to know. Thanks. I'm going to play that because it's funny, and I just didn't have it queued up though. So that's on me, right?
Good for them. I'm happy, but I just want to make sure that I am still held in the highest esteem of the system. It's not a deal breaker, but I'd like to know. Thank you.
Candy, make sure you send me an email about whether you'd like the sticker, hologram sticker, or a magnet or a mug. Let me know, and we'll get that organized, and give me your details, and we'll get that sent out to you. Yes, same Holly, same Brit. But Holly, you choose whatever, because first prize, yo.
They're in, but then the stat is 75% of women murdered by an intimate partner were killed after attempting to leave the relationship.
But we'll do a few more minutes.
So if I told you the odds of you
10
getting in a car, 76% chance you're going to crash and die, would you?
No.
So we as women should think very carefully
Are you still
about
happy, Nick?
the men in our lives, because we're educated about the stranger danger, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And even then we don't always trust our instinct, but it's actually the men in our lives danger that we should be educating. We should be doing healthy relationship education of jealous and controlling behavior as a big red flag. And, we're talking when girls and boys start to date, which now happens, early, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's when we should be talking about this. And
Amen.
giving boys the skills and letting both boys and girls know that jealousy and control is not love. And often young girls see it as love, and it's not.
Heather, everyone
a
loves
healthy relationship and love is all about letting go, right? If you love someone, you let
Nick
them,
hasn't
let
got
them
one,
go.
Simi. He
But
should.
this psychopathology is about making someone's world small and controlling every facet of their life.
Amen.
And that's not healthy.
And we were taught in school, at least I was at the age that I am, is that if boys pull your hair, it means they like you. So you have learned to somewhat attach abuse, whether it's emotional, mental, physical abuse, to, oh, they must like me. They must really like me to get this shit. I used to think that before I met my husband with my toxic ex-boyfriend. He would erupt every moment if I even spoke to a boy. He was in college. And in the moments, because I had low self-esteem, I told myself in that moment, wow, look how much he loves you. He's willing to go that extreme because he loves you that much. So you call coercive control unfreedom. That word really hit me. Unfreedom hit me so hard.
You know what?
Really describing exactly what it is. And in the story you just said is the isolation. It's cutting you.
God damn it. Somebody write that down. You know who you are. Coercive control equals unfreedom. I think that's important. I would like to spread the message more through our merch, Matilda. It's going to be the world's biggest merch store in no time, and that's fine. We love it. We only do things big, right? We like things big. Girthy, to quote Jim Cox.
Cutting you off from people around you so that other people's opinions can't start to penetrate and override, I assume, the psychopaths or the person that you're with. Monitoring and surveillance. So how often do you find that to be true, of making sure people just like, text me, call me, where are you?
Every case.
Really, every case? Every
case. I can't think of any, and the reasons given, because the woman will justify it to me. Oh, but he was cheated on in his last relationship, Laura. And I'll say, whose voice are you now presenting to me? Ooh. And that's how I know he's in her head, because she's now defending him and giving him the justification to behave like this, because that's what he's telling her. With trust in a relationship, trust and respect, the cornerstone and foundation of a relationship. And if you don't have that, red flag.
Yeah, wasn't that, I think you actually said that in one case, the woman was somewhat pressured and forced into always taking selfies to make sure that she was in her pajamas, in her house, in her bed.
I've had women have to flush the toilet because...
I've had women, it's me, I'm women, where I had to be on FaceTime all the time. I struggle with FaceTime still to this day. And I had to, on FaceTime, even though he was actually banned from I lived in a penthouse, 27th floor apartment, and he couldn't get in as it needed to be. But he used to make me FaceTime and show him down the side of the bed, open up the bedside drawer on his side of the bed to show that his things were still in there, that our photo was still over the bed, that if he ever did come to the apartment, gorgeous apartment, he'd feel on my towels to make sure they weren't damp, because he believed that a man had just been in my home and that he had showered, and with the towels being damp would be proof of that. Like nightmare shit, man. That was a nightmare.
Because a toilet flushes in a certain way. So Levi Belfield, he would force one in particular to flush the toilet so that he knew that she was in the house at all times. And that's not a rational thing, right? But someone would tell you in the cold light of day, and they'll say, but it's fine. And that's how women are living their lives, to assuage the consequence of whatever it is that's going to happen. They're walking on eggshells. They're doing these, what are quite extraordinary things to keep the peace. So if you're operating through the prism.
We went through my phone one time at his insistence, one of 10 phones in 18 months that he destroyed, but through my contacts on my iPhone, and we couldn't work out how to delete contacts. So I had to go through and delete the numbers from every contact in my phone that was a male. He was cooked though, like he was extra cooked. He was proper drug fucked and drug-induced psychosis, drug-induced schizophrenia that then turned into full-blown schizophrenia because he refused to stop with the drugs. But yikes.
Prism of somebody else's lens and you're fearful, that's coercive control. We have this understanding that we work out, okay, my job to do the dishwasher, yours to put the bins out, yours to do... We all do that to keep the home going, right? You have to work as a team.
Working to stay alive, Heather.
There's no fear of consequence if someone doesn't do that. It's annoying if they don't do the thing that needs to be done, but there's not a fear of consequence. So that, again, is how you understand whether something is.
Jim, it's not really insecurity. It's coercive control, which is, I guess, stems from insecurity, which is the core of narcissists and psychopaths is a need to control so that one feels better about oneself. And very small people, but no, absolutely, that's not insecurity. That's coercive control and terrorism. She talks about terrorism soon, I think. I hope we get to it.
Is about coercive control, and it's not toxic behavior, it's abuse, and we must call it abuse. And it's not an abusive relationship because a relationship is a construct. it's an abuser. So all of our language masks who the abuser is. And that's something, you know, for me, language.
Make sure you
when I
tell
train
me what you want,
professionals and
Holly.
I'm on my podcast, I'm very clear. You know, if someone says abusive relationship and I'll say, who's the abuser? And they go, oh, because now you have to name them. So once you name them, you know who the problem is. But too often our language, it's their part of patriarchy to mask who the problem is. And if you say abusive relationship, and now you're saying it's half a dozen of one, half a dozen of the other.
That's so true, yeah.
So is it? That's what I'd always ask. So is it? What's really going on here? And that's where the dash is very important, of going through the risk questions with someone.
So take me through the dash, actually, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so is the victim very scared? Are you very scared? So it's not about how you feel, because range of emotions over time, this is about fear. And if there's extreme fear, if they made you, you know, they were driving in a quiet car, they were so reckless, Laura, I told them to stop and they just sped up because they were enjoying the fear to control. So it's not a question on there that says, do they drive recklessly? It's about, do they put you in fear? And are you now wanting to exit the relationship, move to one side of the country because this person, because they said they're going to kill you, when they say they do things, they are the psychopath who does it, right? So that's
George used to say to me, I'll kill you. No, he used to say, I'll knock you. He used to say, I'll fucking knock you. And I'd be all like, I know you will. Just make sure that you do it quickly, you do it painlessly, and you do it soon. That's all I could say. Just waiting for it.
Very important question. And if you're fearful, what are you fearful
He broke
of?
arms and stuff.
9 times out of 10, that victim knows exactly what's going to happen next. Well, he said he killed the children. He said, if I report him to police, he'll kill my children
life
and I'll
artist.
never see them again. That will stop her from going ahead to the next step if she genuinely believes that this man, when he says he does something, because she's the expert, he does it. So victim's perception of and fear levels, stalking. You know, and it's not a question, do they stalk you? It breaks down lots of different types of behavior, because we know stalking is a high-risk behavior.
You call it psychological terrorism, I believe?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is terrorism. That's what
it is terrorism. I used to say this long before I knew any of the verbiage of any of this. I used to say, while I was in the thick of that relationship, terrorism, like they don't even have to do much physical stuff. Once you have the fear of God in you, same as terrorist attacks, you know, traditional terrorist attacks, they do one bombing somewhere and then everybody's on high alert. They do one beating and then you're on high alert because you don't want to risk that again. And it's psychological terrorism. It's a whole thing. The last encounter I had with George was a terrifying stalking event, which happened just only about 6 months, maybe 12 months after in Melbourne. A man, trigger warning, a man went to a shopping center with a machete and went to his ex or estranged wife's or partner's place of work and killed her in the middle of a shopping, like a late night shopping thing in the supermarket, sorry, in the shopping center, in the mall. And George did the same thing. He followed. I was on the tram going to the shops at night. He was following along in his van next to it, insisting on being on the phone with me, FaceTime, while he was driving like a maniac. And then he got to the shops and he walked around the shops with me, Kmart, riding on the trolley, like telling me there and then he was going to kill me, and that he could have killed me a long time ago. In the loudest voice, there was people everywhere. No one did a thing. And all I did the whole time was, George. All I said was, George, I don't want to talk to you right now. Please go away. Please go away. He finally did lose interest and go away. And then I blocked him on my phone. It was the final straw for me. Blocked him, was terrified to get back to my home, into my security, gate, apartment with security entrance, fobs and stuff. And he called me on 3 other numbers. I blocked him on all of them. And I never saw him again. But for once, when I almost ran into him in another shopping center, and I almost died from fear. Oh my God, the triggers.
That's what someone's trying to do. They're trying to scare the bejesus out of you and let you know they're going to be here, there, and everywhere. And it's very intrusive when you're being stalked. And it will be online, it will be offline, it will be in
Jesus fucking Christ.
Point, if it's real stalking, the obsession and fixation means they will want to get up close and personal at some point. So before Tribe and Harry Dillon murdered Alice, he appeared in her garden and she's lying in her bed. And I always tell police officers and others the story when they say, oh yeah, he sent flowers and chocolates. And I say, he didn't send flowers and chocolates. What did he do? And I get them to break.
Nick, good question. So what should men do if they see a narcissist at work? What would help? I mean, it's kind of hard to unravel and untangle someone who's in the midst of coercive control with that narcissist. It really is. it's almost impossible. I would go so far as to say that it's just make sure you're there, that you're understanding, that you don't say things like, why don't you just leave? Just leave. Because it's not that simple. And if they do leave and they go back time and time again, to understand that it takes an average of 7 times for a woman to leave an abusive partner. And I would go so far as to say that all abusive partners are narcissists and definitely toxic, very, very, very toxic people, but narcissists, damaged people. And the most dangerous time for a woman to leave a relationship is when, the most dangerous time for a woman in any relationship is when she's trying to leave. I was trying to, in that last experience was me trying to leave once and for all. I was saying, just leave me alone. Leave me alone. No more. You don't want me. Leave me alone. I'm surprised I didn't die that night. Many times, but that night particularly. So all you can do is to be a good friend, to keep your eyes and ears, to not turn a blind eye to things, to be gentle and kind to the person who's the subject of that coercive control, that narcissistic tactic. But shaming someone or making them feel pressured to leave, giving them options, that they know that they could call you anytime, day or night, that they could come to your place anytime, day or night if they're in danger. If it's not a physical danger thing, I mean, maybe, if you notice certain characteristics or behaviors or verbiage that coming from the narcissist that are questionable or concerning to you, pointing those things out gently, depends how close you are with that person. I guess we can do a stream on that. I'll look into seeing if I can get some tools. Good idea, Nick. Write that down.
To break it down step by step. He appeared in the middle of the night. It's terrifying for a woman. They hear a noise in the middle of the night in the garden. Now you're in her shoes, because I want to put them in her shoes. And now they start to understand. She goes downstairs, pulls open the curtain, and there he is. And
absolutely, there are narcissistic women. Absolutely, there are psychopathic women. The ratio is heavily weighted to men, and also physically, in terms of physical danger, there is a lot more. I mean, statistically, it's the women who are in danger from narcissistic and psychopathic men. It just is. So yes, agreed. There are narcissistic women, 100%. It's just. Even just the physical reality of men, and also not even just physical. I think since time began, misogyny and men have had it over women since time began. It continues to this day, just in kind of different frightening formats. Same though, really. Same. Who is she again? This lady, Laura Richards. She's she says, not knowing, actually. I do know, but hang on. Here. Laura, criminal behavior analyst, Laura Richards, who has devoted her career to understanding the dark manipulative tactics that psychopaths use to entrap their victims, and how we, as women, can identify these red flags. I mean, the majority of people being subjected to this kind of behavior and treatment and abuse and danger, the risks and danger, is women at the hands of men. It just is.
And he stood there and he has his hands up like this and he's going like that, pointing down. And her natural instinct is, shit, absolutely terrifying. The guy who's terrorizing me, he's out there dressed in black. What's he going to do? And it's flowers and chocolates. So she tells the call handler it's flowers and chocolates. Oh, well, that's romantic, isn't it? Because that's what the police thought. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, it's the middle of the night. Why doesn't he use Interflora? Why doesn't he send flowers at 3 p.m. in the afternoon? Why does it have to be in the middle of the night? What's his real message?
And when you say police, I assume you mean male police.
I mean, I train all officers.
Chat, I've just looked at the time. As I said, unfortunately, I have a guest appearance to go to in 7 minutes on Publicly Buzzed, Feral Friday. So I don't think we have a portal ready, but perhaps we do. So this whole episode, there's still 20 minutes left. I'm sorry, we're going to have to cut it short. Me and my scheduling, it's just like, it's a whole thing. But we will definitely talk about some tools for people who know of someone in a situation that's perhaps a coercive control situation, we can share our ideas and our resources and our thoughts, and I'll see if I can pull something up. That's what she said. Pull something up in terms of video reference that we can watch. We have a plethora of subject matter to cover, of content, and but a very short time every week in Camp Shorty to get it done. I'm doing my best, and thank you for bearing with me. I'm glad we meandered through it on and off the topic. It makes it more fun. Thank you so much to my beautiful moderators and chat. Chat is Bay. Come on over to Feral Friday. It's so much fun. Publicly buzzed. Wait, can someone drop publicly buzzed in the chat for just the channel or even for the live stream? That'd be really helpful. And come on over. There's a wheel. There's an opportunity to win on Publicly Buzzed every live stream, not just once a weekend. And then we head over to Kick for fun. I'm going to be day drinking. It's a whole thing. You can pack a bong or roll a fucking joint or grab a beer or whatever, or have a cup of tea. I don't know, whatever you like. It's so much fun. We totally get feral. Friends of the channel, Publicly Buzzed. So congratulations, winners. Don't forget all weekend, every weekend, every bit of money that comes to the channel, that donator, that blessings giver, it goes in the draw to win something off the merch store, Miss Shorty merch store, missshorty.com. And Joe Takapina, ASAP Rocky's attorney, Donald Trump's attorney, 5:00 Eastern tomorrow. And then we're doing top 10 lying McLiars moments from the Karen Reid trial version 1 at 7 tomorrow night. So no portal. That's cool. You can walk. Yes, thank you. Amber's going to pass on Feral Friday tonight. That's okay. Thank you for being here, Amber. I hope some of your care package starts to arrive soon, Amber. Yes, same goes for all the mods. Great show, Lisa. Lots of fun. Thanks, Colours. Mwah. I love you all very, very much. I'll see you tomorrow or next time. Peace.
I love you all so very much. We had a blast just chatting and stuff. Things may have gone a bit off the rails. Professional when all else fails. 'Cause chat is babe, so much to say. Emotes and all the caps out. May have been cheese, bit faster please. The time has come, Camp Shorty out. We're skating through all the tough things, learning about this and that, defense motions, prosecution, and narcissistic twats. 'Cause chat is babe, so much to say. Emotes and all the all caps out. May have been cheese, bit faster please. The time has come, Camp Shorty out. Community, just you and me. Occasionally, Buster and Poppy. It's a whole thing, Miss Shorty swing. Together we make each other happy.